actually we're not using metro because it was like an amusement or a fun ride, but all of a sudden, about a month back, we had well-connected metros, so it's a fair excuse that all the people from South Bangalore have not been able to be here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have an empty auditorium here. So with that, if we can get the presentation up. So yeah, so transformation of fintech startups to TechFin, right? So I've started a company which was fairly focusing on analytics for hedge funds, was focusing on e-commerce, education technology when I actually built it when I was 14, and I stepped down as a CEO about a year back. So to build another startup, which was called FinTech for hyperlocal product discovery and incentivizing users to walk into stores and helping them to actually discover the products in the offline environment and aggregating the loyalty cards, because we realized that shoppers across the world would not make their shopping decision based on the loyalty cards that they have. So with that, I also realized that as a ShopSup, as a startup, we drove massive amount of foot traffic to the stores, but we didn't influence the users to make a purchase. So, and one of the main reasons is it may not be in the budget of the user who would walk into such a store to earn points, or he would want to burn those loyalty points which is aggregated from other brands. So for one of the problem the offline brands or the offline retailers were actually genuinely facing was not foot traffic, but actually influencing the users to make a purchase, to help consumers to buy, of course, stuff at their store. So so with that, actually TechFin was a word that was coined by Alibaba's founder, and when actually Jack Ma was was interviewed by Bloomberg, he suggested that if banks don't change, then of course we tech startups have to change the banks, and that's how several years or for about a decade, startups and technology evangelists across the world have been using the word fintech to enable the banking system, to enable the payment system. But Alibaba Jack Ma felt that, okay, as technology startups, we would not want to enable them anymore, but we want to change them completely. So banks could be one of the stakeholder, but the technology platform could be the core of it. So you don't build applications around the bank, but banks can actually open up their APIs if they want to sustain in the game around the technology platforms. So that's how, of course, the TechFin revolution started. On the paucity of time, I'll be very brief over the slides because some of them are kind of self-explanatory. So, in fact, TechFin is actually split into multiple verticals. One is mobile payments. One is on how could technology be used in insurance and the blockchain revolution that we are seeing, and as well as instant financing. So of course, wallets to Aadhaar Pay. As we all sit here, you need to be definitely proud of the fact that you are sitting in a country which is doing a massive leapfrog in mobile payments, and it's thanks to the Prime Minister and his vision. When demonetization happened in the last year, and as you all know, the Prime Minister wanted to push massive amount of transaction that could happen cashless India, digital India, and the push for the wallets. All of a sudden, in the opposition party in the parliament, would make a hard comment on the Prime Minister, saying that you are literally pushing Paytm. So Paytm means actually pay to Modi, and you should not be pushing wallets because wallet penetration is not so high in India, and you're supporting the third-party wallets where you're encouraging people of India to move their savings from their bank accounts to third-party wallets where they don't earn any interest. So finally, the Prime Minister launched BMAP, and you will be hearing to my friend Nikhil Kumar this afternoon, who was commissioned and who received the mandate to administer the BMAPs for product development of the BMAP, and it was built in a month's time. And after BMAP was launched, again the Prime Minister had to face the heat, and of course the administration in the power had to face the heat, saying that okay, with BMAP the problem is people in India do not have smartphones, people do not have mobile internet at the last mile. How would they pay? So finally there was a big revolution, which was the Aadhaar Pay that the Prime Minister launched in this April, and it's completely massive. I mean, if my own company has raised some investment from outside of India, it was because of the fact that the futuristic vision of the Prime Minister and the government, the fact that okay, India is making this leapfrog as far as mobile payments is concerned. Of course, with this Aadhaar Pay, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of Aadhaar Pay. You link your bank accounts with Aadhaar, and your biometric or your fingerprint is linked to Aadhaar. So, and the RBI and NPCI is looking to install this biometric dongles at the point of sale, and eventually, hopefully by next year, they are also going to release a mandate that the POS machines, the point of sales machines that you see in the stores right now to swipe your cards or to enter the PIN. For several years back, it was magnetic swipe. Now you have smart cards. So eventually, those machines will be equipped with fingerprint readers. So which literally means my mother could go to a supermarket to buy a milk with her fingerprint, and she need not have to have a phone. She need not have to have an internet. She simply gives her fingerprint. She walks away with a milk packet. So that is what actually Aadhaar Pay is doing to India, and it's not anywhere in the world. I was talking to Brian, who is a VP operations. He comes from China. He is a former MD of Huawei. He was completely amazed the fact that as Chinese, they all felt that okay, so they are far ahead with the WeChat and the WePay. Of course, without WeChat, you will not be able to survive across China. I mean, you can't rent a bike, you can't pay in coffee shops because some of the coffee shops tell that okay, we don't want to accept cash, we can't swipe your card. It's a massive behavior that's got changed there. But all of a sudden, India has this advantage with the social security card, the Aadhaar card that's linked to your iris, and as well as your biometric. So of course, we hope that Aadhaar Pay is going to be absolutely revolutionary. And when the Prime Minister had launched this, he made this amazing statement telling that if you do not have your phone, if you do not have internet, if you do not have your wallet, and somebody mugs you, you still could go with your finger and you could still make a payment. And of course, NPCI is also working on the security layer to it, which you'll also hear from Nikhil this afternoon. That is, these biometric dongles is mapped to each store. So, for example, if I'm an owner of Nike, I cannot say that hey, my machine is not working. I want to take your dongle and I want to use it in Adidas. So it is mapped to each store, and all of them have the blood pressure monitoring as well, so that you, of course. As a very like a super exception, you wouldn't use somebody's finger, and you would not be authorizing the payment, or you cannot do any fraud with the fake fingerprints. You need to have a real finger where the blood is running through it, so that you are able to make the payments. So of course, mobile payment revolution is massive. So I know some startups which wants to use mobile phones, which has some sensors through it, which has, of course, obviously Bluetooth and NFC. And I know some of the startups across the UK who are also working on applications where if you have the mobile phone in your pocket and you enter a fuel station and you fill the fuel, automatically contactless, you don't have to scan the QR codes or anything, automatically the wallet or your bank account is actually debited from the fuel station instantly, and it's a very seamless solution that they're planning to do it. Yeah, of course, Aadhaar Pay is going to be huge, and it's truly mobile because you will always go with your finger. So, of course, insurance tech is going to be huge as well. We already have seen one of the upcoming unicorns across the United States called Metro Mile, where the whole idea of that is you do not insure your car. If you're a passive user of your car, it's very unfair for you to pay the same insurance amount as someone else who uses his car almost every day. So actually Metro Mile is one of the very interesting startups where they would want to compute how many miles have you gone, and they would want to make the insurance pricing as dynamic as possible and underwriting as well equally possible, which means that if you're an everyday user of the car, obviously for the insurance company it's a bigger risk. But if you're a passive user, it's a minimal risk, so you don't have to pay the premium as your neighbor who uses his car every day. The InsurTech is a huge, so if there are anybody who's planning to leave their jobs, or who is planning to start something on their own, or who's planning to pivot, the insurance technology with the advent of smartphones is going to be massive. And the best part with of course with the InsurTech is you got certain startups that want to underwrite the risk. Of course, our own India's Avasthajan would want to use predictive analytics on healthcare by using your swab, and they would want to analyze or they would want to predict your healthcare, or if you'd be affected with certain ailments, and they would want to underwrite your risk. So they would make this data available to the insurance company. So they would say, okay, after 15 years, this person has high probability of being affected with Alzheimer or with being affected with cancer, so he is not a high risk. It's as a consumer, it's definitely bad, but for insurance companies, that's great. For car insurance, as I told you, got Metro Mile, you got other insurances, you got wearable devices that would also is able to predict your kind of behavioral patterns, and is able to underwrite the risk. Insurance advisors will literally be replaced with those robo-advisors. So you may not want to meet an insurance salesman who would want to upsell you something which you may not want to do it. So you'd have these insurance advisors which could make objective advices to you, which could offer you personalized advices. And the more importantly is with the advent of smartphones, you could literally buy micro policies, which means that for assume that you're about to do a skydiving and it's high risk, so obviously you would want to take a micro policy only for the skydiving when you're doing it. Or you're doing an air travel, you could literally take an insurance at the airport and for those destinations that you would want to take. Or health insurance. So micro policies could be huge. So it's only that the insurance companies are very much looking to partner with technology companies who could solve their problems. It could be on personalization of insurance, the AI advisors, and the connected insurance. The connected insurance is similar to the Metro Mile, where as a person you're always connected, your smartphone is connected to the insurance companies, or your car is connected to the insurance companies, so that it's a lot easier for the insurance companies to advise the right policy to you and as well as to sell it to you. Of course, the mobile wealth management, from Scriptbox to various other startups within Bangalore or within India, we've seen that how they plan to educate the consumers on the investment behavior. It could be investing in mutual funds. It could be planning their savings. It could be the robo advisors that want to invest. Across the United States, we've got this Robinhood, which is a unicorn of the United States right now, who got declined 75 times from the venture capitalists, because how can you not charge a brokerage for stock trading? And that's exactly what the Robinhood wanted to disrupt, which is probably the United States' first app which does not charge stock brokerage, and it's completely free of cost for you to actually trade on that. And of course, why they want to do it free of cost, and they're valued at $1.6 billion US, because the data is the new oil, and they want to generate massive amount of this data, so that it's a lot easier for them to sell it to from hedge fund managers to the wealth managers across the globe to the banks, who could in turn can upsell financial products to these consumers. Okay, so coming back, this is my own company, Happy EMI. Some of you must have actually dropped into our stall. So the Happy EMI, so Shops Up got changed to Happy EMI on April this year. On end of April, I happened to meet Brian and the whole team, who is an investor for us from Shenzhen. I went to China, and I was completely mind blown to see that people across China even in smaller cities and the rural areas, can literally take purchase financing or instant financing at the point of sale, which means that when I was walking with Sandeep, who works with me, when we walk into an Apple store in Orion Mall here, you'd be very likely to be intercepted from a guy from Bajaj Finance who would say that, okay, sir, you could take a 0% EMI. If you want it, you need to come with a cancelled check. You need to have a CIBIL score of more than 750. And the worst thing is, if you're with your date or with your girlfriend, and he would say that, okay, you want to buy an iPhone, can you please come in the site? And he goes in the system and he tells, okay, your CIBIL score is 700. We will not be able to finance you. Or even if you take a loan, especially for we as Indians, taking a loan is kind of a stigma, and that's exactly what we plan to actually remove it in Happy EMI. How do you make financing as seamless as possible? Is there any way that you can stand in the same queue as anybody else, and the point of sale could instantly underwrite the risk and can instantly have you sign the loan agreement from your biometric or fingerprint, and you could take the loan? The whole idea is that majority of Indians do not have a CIBIL score at all. And I'm not sure if you are aware of this. If you have not taken a loan, you will not get a loan. Means your CIBIL score is like -1 or it's actually 0. So it's kind of a vicious circle. And the only way you could actually break it is that you need to use alternative data scoring, and that's exactly what Happy EMI is solving, which gives instant financing at the point of sale and paperless and peopleless. The whole idea is that with biometric, with Aadhaar, we do the KYC, we're instantly underwriting your risk. We use about 100 odd, I would say, parameters to underwrite your risk, your social media data, your behavioral information, your mobile data, telecom data, and so such exactly our investors across China are doing it from a company called Swipal Technology. Their product is VCube and Huaxian. So they give payday loans for blue collar employees. So which means that if employees are actually working in factories, so they are underserved by the banks. Banks do not want to touch them because they are blue collar employees. They are having a salary of 10,000 or 15,000 rupees, and they are under leveraged by the end of the month. So a company like Swipal actually uses these data. For example, if the employee claims that he's working in a Foxconn factory to manufacture phones, they literally send silent pings to his phone on a working day to figure out if he's really working in Foxconn or not. If he desperately applies for a loan in the midnight, is he alcoholic or not? Is he visiting the bars around the factory or not? Or is he installed some apps like Rummy Circle or gambling apps on his phone so that they are able to underwrite the risk and his behavior? This is completely amazing, and I was completely mind blown the fact that they use alternative data to underwrite the risk. And the best part is, so their default rate compared to a conventional bank is about 5% lesser. A conventional bank would have a default rate of 7%. Their default rate is 2%. So it's definitely a validation that alternative data and the machine learning could be massive for us to underwrite the risk. So of course, instant financing is huge in India. We've got startups that are similar to Happy EMI. We've got startups that want to convert the purchases into EMI. And the best part is it is 0% EMI, so that the user need not have to worry about he paying interest. Even the prime and those near prime who would want to convert their purchase, like even me, if somebody tells me that you buy an iPhone and you don't pay upfront, but you use your cash for investing somewhere else, and you pay equated installment only in the principal and interest you don't pay. So how does Happy EMI make money? Because we get subvented from the manufacturer and the retailer. So manufacturers of the phones would pay us a commission, the fact that we are boosting up a sale. Somebody who walks into an Apple store to buy an iPhone 5, we literally push him his budget to buy an iPhone 7 because he need not have to worry about his cash flow being impacted. We've got startups that want to solve the similar problems for student loans. We've got startup that wants to solve the problems for affordable housing or second-hand vehicles or the used cars and the payday loans. And of course, another important era that's going to come in India for this year and for next year, or as the experts or the venture capitalists are pegging this to be the WhatsApp moment of India, is the fact that the branch or the bank branches will be replaced with mobile phones, which means that so eventually after a few years you will not see the physical branches anymore, but you will see those digital banks and mobile first banks with those neo banks and the challenger banks, which literally means that startups in India and across the world are actually partnering with an old conventional bank, and they're literally writing APIs for them to launch banks like Atom or N26, which have not yet launched, but their valuation, or they've raised like 100 million US dollars, which literally means that starting from opening a bank account to do your FD deposits, to do your finance, to analyze your financial transactions, to apply for the credit card, which is a virtual card that you get, you could literally achieve it to the mobile first bank. So it's very likely that in few months or few years, you will literally not visit a mobile bank at all. Of course, my last slide is a blockchain, which is my own favorite topic. You'll see a massive blockchain revolution starting from India itself, and who knows, by this year or by next year, the Prime Minister may again start one of his speech with the word Mitron in the month of November. Similar to demonetization, he may want to announce something else that is equally impactful. It could be to impact the real estate, to remove Benami properties, and such things can only be achieved with blockchain, which literally means that you can literally know whom and all this apartment was sold to, or if you want to buy a used car with blockchain, you can literally know who and all has bought these. Of course, bought the vehicle, who has used it. If the best part is it's like a public ledger. In simple words, blockchain is similar to Wikipedia, but imagine the Wikipedia is at multiple instances. So if a hacker by chance is hacking and manipulating one Wikipedia edition, he will not be able to manipulate everything, because if and only if all the stakeholders or the nodes who change those versions, it will made an impact. We've seen amazing applications in e-commerce for blockchain, for logistics, supply chain, for real estate, and the best part is I remember one of the startup who's working on smart wills, so which means that after your departure, you can automatically issue a blockchain to the bank saying that after my departure, my first dependent should get house, my second dependent should get my car, my kids should get XYZ, and it is automatically executed without any of the litigation, and it's very seamless. Or IoT with blockchain. I know a startup which will automatically open the apartment's lock with IoT as soon as you make a security deposit to the owner. So it opens the apartment so that you could go and see it. If you're okay with it, you could continue to stay there. If you're not okay with it, automatically the security deposit is refunded back, is sent to your bank. So with that, yeah, it's about the revolution from FinTech to TechFin, and you'll very soon see the WhatsApp moment in India in this. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suhas, may I have you back on stage for a second? That was a really energetic start to the day, and it was great to hear about your journey as well as what you're doing at Happy yesterday, there's been a lot of conversation online around the hashtag GMASA, and we've been running a Twitter contest through the week as well as one that started yesterday. The one that started yesterday was a selfie contest. We'll get to know the winners of that later today. But the Twitter contest that was running through the week around this event has a winner, and the winner is Abhilash Patnaik. He wins a voucher from us. Is Abhilash in the room? Abhilash Patnaik, hashtag AbhilashP28645. Okay, so I'll make this announcement again. Hopefully, Abhilash will be in the room. We also have the most engaging tweeter prize. This one goes to Saju Abraham, at Saju AB. Is Saju AB in the room today? Yeah, there you are. Please put your hands together for Saju AB. Workshop that's just begun in parallel. This one is by Glispa Media and it's happening at Neptune. The topic of this workshop is how to choose the right monetization mix and effectively monetize your app. So feel free to step across to Neptune. I think it's just down the hall. and participate in this workshop by Glispa Media. And on that note, we'll move on to the next panel discussion. This one is called The Art of Getting Funded and is being moderated by Raman Govindarajan. He is from Perf Systems. The panelists are Nayaz Ahmed from Juncunator, Ponnarul AP from Unitas Seed Fund, Ravi Ranjan from 10,000 Startups, and Varadarajan Krishna from 100 Open Startups. Please welcome the first panel for today. Over to Raman Govindarajan.